Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about how to not hate yourself so much. Okay, so obviously, the first thing that I want to discuss is obviously if you have like a really bad self image, low self esteem, and you're feeling horrible all of the time, then obviously my advice to you is to obviously seek medical professional help if this is something that's happening chronically in your life and you feel like you need help. So please do seek help from a medical professional if you are having any kind of low mood, and it's something that's been going on for a long time and it's persistent. Okay, because if you're not talking to someone who is a medical professional, they're the ones that are really going to be able to help you and figure out what's the right kind of form of action for you. This video may help a little bit, but it's no way a substitute for medical professional help. Okay, so in order to make you feel better about yourself, it's kind of different for everybody. Like there are different strokes for different folks, basically. So I'm just going to go into the things that make me feel good about myself when I'm having, a time in my life where I'm not feeling that great about myself. What are the things that I do that instantly make me feel much more better about myself? Okay, so I'm going to go through those things. And basically, what these things are things that make me feel proud of myself, that make me feel like I'm progressing, right? They're things that are helping me grow. Because, usually, you hear advice from people saying, oh, yeah, do what makes you feel good, right? But sometimes that can be a bit misconstrued because sometimes things that make us feel good aren't always what's good for us. Like, for example, eating lots of junk food can feel really good at the time, but obviously long term it's not a great thing. Drinking, again, it's like one of those things that feels good, but it's not something that's great long term, and often, makes you feel regret. Other things might be, escaping into entertainment, like video games, watching too much Netflix, that sort of thing. That kind of thing may feel good at the time and may help relieve the pain, but you're just numbing it and you're just distracting yourself with pleasure. And there's that Viktor Frankl quote that I think is really powerful, which is, when a man can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. So if you're using things that make you feel good as a distraction, that's not a good thing. So the key then is to be doing things that make you feel proud of yourself, that make you feel like you're progressing, and that makes you feel like, that makes you feel productive, So it's really fun for me, like to create a to-do list. And then I cross off the things of the to-do list after I finish a task. It makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel empowered. So that's a little something there. But these are the main things that make me personally feel good about myself, right? And it's going to be different for you. Like the things that I'm going to talk about probably can be a lot different for you. So it's good to become more acutely aware of what makes you feel good. And this is something that I've been doing very recently, okay? So one of the things that definitely makes me feel good, that makes me feel like I'm progressing, is when I'm working on my business. Because, this channel that I have here is where I'm talking about like the topics and ideas that I find really, really interesting outside of dating and relationships. But I also have a dating and relationship channel, which is basically my main core business, which most of my revenue comes from. So I have that, and when I'm working on that business, I feel really good. When I'm working on this channel as well, I feel really good too. And when I'm, talking to clients, getting that sort of stuff done, that makes me feel really good. Tweaking things on my website, creating new products for my website, that makes me feel really good. And not only is it makes me feel good, but it is actually good for me to do those things because I'm actually progressing. And yeah, that just makes me feel good. So figure out what that could be for you. Perhaps it could be going into work and not having so many days where you sort of slack off, or, because maybe you'll have a day at work where, you don't do the best job to your ability. But on days where you actually really do your job really well, you probably feel really good on those days. So think of it in that way, because obviously not everyone has a business like what I do. So another thing that makes me feel really good is reading non-fiction books where I feel like I'm expanding my knowledge in some way. I don't mind reading fiction, that's okay, but again, it's entertainment. When I'm reading non-fiction books that are helping me learn something, like a personal development book or a biography about someone famous, like recently I've been reading Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, that makes me feel like I'm progressing because I'm actually learning about something. So whenever I'm like learning, that makes me feel good about myself, okay? So another thing, a really big one as well, is exercise. Exercise makes me feel really good about myself, and I think it makes a lot of people feel really good about themselves too. I think it's one of those universal things that makes humans feel good, and I think it probably has a lot to do, obviously, with the endorphins that get released through exercise. But it doesn't have to be like something strenuous. It could be just going out for a walk. You know, sometimes going out and having some fresh air and just going for like a walk for like half an hour can make you feel really good, and it's a form of exercise. So exercise is another thing that makes me feel good about myself, makes me feel like I'm progressing. And also those endorphins get released, so obviously it's got that feel good factor within it anyway. And it's obviously good. It's good for long-term health, and it's good in the short term as well, where you get that endorphin release. Another thing that makes me feel good about myself is having genuine quality time with family and friends. So, you know, you can have, and that's the important word there is quality time. So where you're having actually like, you know, having a good laugh, or you're doing something, you're having a shared experience. Because sometimes you can just sit and hang out with friends or family and it'd be a total miserable experience, you know, especially, it depends on the mood of what's going on. But when you're having like really good quality time with friends and family, that personally makes me feel really good, and I think it will help others as well. Try not to isolate yourself, because sometimes if you isolate yourself and you don't talk to your family and friends that much, you may feel like you're doing it for you, and you may feel good because, let's say, you're, you know, doing your own thing, but we are people, and we are people, shall we say. We are very sociable creatures, shall we say. Better way to put it. Very sociable creatures, and because we're sociable creatures, it's a good idea to, you know, remain social, to have friends, to have family that you talk to and stuff. And if you don't have family or friends, then one of your goals should be to fix that, to find yourself some friends. You might not be able to have family, although you might be able to in the future if you get married and have kids. But if you don't currently have family, and having kids and being married may be something that's quite far off in the distance, then you should be working on trying to find some friends and socializing. Go to local events that you find interesting. So if you like video games or comics, you know, go to like some sort of like Comic-Con convention, or go to like I don't know if they have this sort of thing in the United States or other parts of the world, but if you're kind of geeky and you like things like Lord of the Rings or like Warhammer or like Magic the Gathering cards, there's usually like events going on for those things, at least in every town or city, at least in every city in the United Kingdom. So if you're interested in anything that, you know, you could join a group for, you should do that so you can find new friends. It could be that you sign up for some sort of exercise class. Let's say you really like martial arts and would like to learn a martial art, then do that. Right? But the point is, out of all of these things, is that you're doing things that make you feel good, that make you feel like you're progressing or you're creating something, and that makes you feel proud about yourself. Because if you don't feel proud of yourself and you don't feel proud of who you are, then that's probably one of the reasons why you don't like yourself very much. Okay, so you've got to do things that will make you like you, and you may need to experiment for a bit. You know, I didn't know that reading non-fiction books helped me feel empowered and made me feel good about myself. You know, I didn't know that until I started noticing because I kind of done little experiments on myself basically to find out what lifts my mood and what doesn't lift my mood. And the things that I've listed are things that lift my mood, but you may need to tweak that. You might read a non-fiction book and be like, yeah, I don't like this. This doesn't make me feel good at all. I don't feel like I'm progressing at all. So you might have to figure out what works for you, right? And what makes you personally feel good. But make sure it's something that does actually genuinely make you feel good, and it's not something that you're just distracting yourself with, okay? So that's my thoughts on that. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.